The diner was almost empty that evening. A neon sign outside flickered, open, though it had been years since the place felt truly alive. Inside, a single dad named Ethan Cole, a former Marine sniper, sat in the corner booth with his 8-year-old son, Jamie. Ethan had that look veterans often carry, proud posture, tired eyes, and the kind of calm that only comes from surviving too much. His hands, calloused from years of field work and odd jobs, wrapped around a chipped coffee mug. He checked his wallet, hoping maybe he'd missed something last time. But no, 2 crumpled dollar bills stared back. That was all he had until the next VA payment. Jamie sat across from him, swinging his legs under the table. "Dad, can I get pancakes tomorrow?" Ethan smiled faintly. "We'll see, buddy. Maybe after I get some more work." He'd been searching for steady employment since his leg injury forced him out of construction. Every morning, he'd send out resumes, make calls, and pray someone would take a chance on a limping ex-Marine with a kid. That night, though, the diner door creaked open, and in walked a rough-looking man wearing a leather jacket and helmet under his arm. His face was lined with dirt and exhaustion. The jacket had a patch on the back, Iron Wolves MC. He approached the counter and muttered to the waitress, "Any chance I could get a coffee? I'll pay you back tomorrow." "Promise." The waitress sighed. "Sorry, hun. Owner's been strict since last week. No tabs." The biker nodded, clearly used to rejection, and turned to leave. That's when Ethan stood. "Hey," he called out. "Wait." The biker looked over, suspicious. Ethan reached into his wallet and pulled out the last 2 bills. "Here," he said. "It's not much, but it's enough for a coffee and maybe a sandwich." The biker frowned. "Man, you don't even know me." Ethan shrugged. "Doesn't matter. I know what it's like to be hungry." The biker hesitated, then accepted it, his eyes softening. "Name's Ryder. I won't forget this." Ethan smiled tiredly. "Don't worry about it." They shook hands, rough palm to rough palm, and the biker left after finishing his meal quietly, glancing back once at the father and son who'd helped him without expecting anything. That night, Ethan and Jamie walked home under the dim streetlights, passing by shuttered shops and empty houses. The boy's shoes were worn, and his coat had lost its zipper. But when Jamie asked why Dad gave away his last $2, Ethan only said, "Because we still have each other. That's worth more than money." He didn't sleep well that night. The apartment was cold, and the fridge held only half a carton of milk and some leftover bread. Still, he tucked Jamie in, whispered a Marine's old bedtime phrase, "Stay strong, soldier," and drifted off praying tomorrow might bring something better. The next morning started like any other. The sound of an old coffee maker sputtering. The creak of his prosthetic brace as he strapped it on. Jamie humming softly while brushing his teeth. Ethan opened the front door, and froze. Down the street, the low rumble of engines filled the air. Dozens at first, then more. The noise grew louder, like thunder rolling over the town. Jamie ran to the window. "Dad, what's that sound?" Ethan stepped outside, and his jaw dropped. A caravan of motorcycles, stretching for blocks, was roaring toward his neighborhood. The sunlight caught the chrome, flashing like waves. Jackets with the same Iron Wolves MC emblem filled the street. Not 5 or 10 bikers, but nearly 200. They pulled up and parked in formation right in front of Ethan's apartment building. Neighbors peeked through curtains, whispering nervously. Ryder, the same man from the diner, stepped off his bike and removed his helmet, smiling. "Told you I wouldn't forget, brother." Ethan blinked. What's going on?" Ryder motioned to the others. "You helped a stranger last night, gave him your last $2. You didn't ask for anything back. That kind of heart, we don't see it much these days." He gestured to the crowd of riders. "So we decided to pay it forward." Then, one by one, the bikers started unloading things. Boxes, bags, tools, even furniture. "What are you doing?" Ethan asked, stunned. "Fixing your life up a bit," Ryder said with a grin. "You said you were a Marine, right? My dad was one too. You helped a brother. Now the Brotherhood's got you covered." Jamie ran out, wide-eyed, as bikers carried in groceries, a second-hand sofa, and a new pair of shoes for the boy. Others repaired the broken fence, cleaned up the yard, even change the oil in Ethan's beat-up truck that hadn't run for months. Ryder pulled Ethan aside. "We called in some favors. One of our members owns a garage, says you've got experience with tools and machinery." Ethan nodded slowly. "Yeah, I worked maintenance and construction before my injury." "Perfect," Ryder said. "You start Monday. Full-time. Benefits. We'll work around your leg." Ethan's throat tightened. He looked down, trying to blink away tears. "I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything," Ryder replied. "Just promise you'll keep paying it forward, like you did for me." By noon, the quiet neighborhood had turned into a scene of laughter, engines, and barbecue smoke. Someone had set up a grill, another a music speaker. Jamie played catch with one of the bikers, his laughter echoing down the street, something Ethan hadn't heard in weeks. Neighbors who once kept to themselves started stepping out, drawn by the noise and warmth. An elderly widow brought out lemonade. Kids waved small flags. Ethan stood by his door, still in disbelief, when Ryder handed him a folded American flag, the kind given to fallen veterans' families. "This belonged to my dad," Ryder said quietly. "He always said a soldier's strength isn't in his weapon, it's in his heart." "You reminded me of that." Ethan tried to refuse, but Ryder pressed it into his hands. "You earned it, brother." Over the following weeks, Ethan's life transformed. The job at the garage turned out better than expected, a tight-knit crew that treated him like family. He learned that many of the Iron Wolves were ex-servicemen themselves, mechanics, truckers, medics, men and women who'd found brotherhood again on two wheels. Jamie loved visiting the shop after school. The bikers taught him how to polish chrome, change oil, and even ride on the back of a smaller dirt bike in the lot. For the first time in years, Ethan felt purpose returning. But the biggest moment came one chilly Saturday morning. The club held a charity ride across the state for veterans and single parents in need. Hundreds of riders gathered at dawn, engines rumbling, flags waving. Ryder approached Ethan, holding a black leather jacket. On the back, embroidered in bold letters, "Honor Wolves, Support Crew." Ethan smiled, touched. "I'm not a biker." Ryder smirked. "You are now." They rode together that day, Ethan in a sidecar next to Ryder, Jamie waving from behind. The wind rushed past, and Ethan felt something he hadn't in years: freedom. At every stop, people cheered. Donations poured in. They raised enough to help several struggling veterans find housing and jobs. By evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Ethan realized something. His simple act of kindness had started a chain reaction that reached hundreds. Months passed. Life settled into rhythm again. Work, school, laughter. Ethan saved enough to move into a small house with a yard. Ryder and the club often visited, bringing food, stories, and laughter. Then one evening, as they sat around a fire pit, Ryder said quietly, "You ever wonder why I was at that diner that night?" Ethan nodded. "Yeah, I do." Ryder looked into the flames. "My old man was dying. Cancer. I'd been trying to get back to him from another state, but my wallet got stolen. I hadn't eaten in 2 days. When you handed me those $2, I could have cried." Ethan's face softened. "Did you make it back in time?" Ryder nodded slowly. "Yeah, I got there that same night." He passed a few hours later. "But before he went, he told me something, that maybe angels walk among us wearing boots instead of wings. I didn't understand until I met you." Ethan felt tears sting his eyes. "I just did what anyone should." "Exactly," Ryder said, "but not everyone does." They sat in silence for a while. Two men, both shaped by hardship, both finding family again in the unlikeliest way. A year later, on the anniversary of that diner night, the Iron Wolves organized a massive charity rally called $2 of Hope. Thousands joined. Riders, veterans, families. News stations covered it, calling Ethan the $2 hero. He hated the title. He didn't feel like a hero. He just saw himself as a father trying to raise his boy right. Jamie, now 9, stood proudly beside him at the podium as Ethan spoke. "I didn't give away $2 that night," he said. "I gave away a chance, a belief that even when life hits you hard, kindness still matters. You never know whose life you'll touch, or who'll come riding back for you." The crowd erupted in applause, engines revving in salute. And as hundreds of motorcycles thundered down the open road that afternoon, flags waving, hearts united, Ethan looked up at the sky, whispering, "Thank you." Ryder caught his eye, gave a nod, and shouted over the roar of engines. "You started this, brother. Now let's keep it rolling." Ethan grinned, pulling Jamie close as they watched the endless line of riders disappear into the golden horizon, a symbol of how far a single act of kindness can go. That night, as the stars rose above their small town, Ethan tucked Jamie in and smiled. "Dad," Jamie murmured sleepily, "do you think those bikers are angels?" Ethan chuckled softly, "Maybe, buddy, maybe they're the kind that ride Harleys instead of flying." He turned off the light and stood by the window, gazing at the moonlit street that once felt so lonely. Now it was alive, full of hope, brotherhood, and noise that sounded a lot like redemption. Because sometimes, all it takes to change a life is $2, and a heart that refuses to stop giving.